Welcome back to Primetime Local News. I'm now joined in studio by Shaun Newman, former athlete, but also now a podcast host.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate you thinking of me.
Now, it's not every day that you get to talk to someone who's not necessarily got a background in broadcasting and now hosts their own podcast. So just tell us really briefly about what got you into it.
Yeah, it's just a hobby that became a passion of mine. Enjoyed being on the radio back from my junior days playing hockey. Anytime they offered for me to go on the radio and help them out, I jumped at the chance. And then when I first got back here from playing hockey, I did color commentating for the Bobcats for part of a season and really enjoyed it. But I was saying to you before is I still play senior hockey. I still love being active, and doing something like you guys do takes a lot of time. And I work full time and I play hockey full time, and I got a third kid on the way. And so I stumbled across podcasting last year and thought, man, this is something that a guy can do and make fit his life. And I thought for a place like Lloyd that has such amazing people and talented athletes and cool stories, why not try it here and see if I could make a go of it.
And you've obviously made this a specifically local podcast in terms of who you talk to. It's also kind of transformed what it started out as to what you do now.
Yeah, well, the idea had always been, I call it the 80-10-10 principle. My own principle is I played hockey in Canada and the States and in Europe, and so I wanted to be a lot of athletes. I know a lot of athletes, and that would be majority hockey. They just got a nice pipeline built there. But by no means is that what Lloyd's known for. There's tons of great athletes, and so I wanted to tell lots of those stories. But I graduated with a degree in history, and so I wanted to track down some unique stories about where we came from and the history of Lloyd and surrounding area and so forth. And that's what I was saying to you, a guy like Cy Campbell from Unity came across my plate by people listening and saying you should interview this guy, and he fought in World War II, and he was amazing. And then 10%, I biked across Canada in 2006, and so I just like adventurous people that got cool stories to share. And so that's kind of how I've been trying to go about getting people on. And as I was saying, like now it just seems like hockey has become prevalent in it because the door is open and hockey guys know to come, but I'm always looking for cool and unique stories from around Lloyd and surrounding communities.
And so when you do the podcast, is your goal to kind of just have a fun back and forth, or just really kind of learn more about each particular person and their story?
Yeah, I really want to know their story. It started out with knowing some people from around the Hillmont community. I'm originally from Hillmont, and hearing their story third hand or fourth hand and from dressing room talk, oh, they did this, but never actually from them. And so I thought I really wanted to hear their story from them. So I really try and go back to their beginning and how they got to where they are and try and fill in the middle blanks. And if they got some cool stories along the way, let them tell their story and keep it lighthearted, I guess, and that kind of conversation around a coffee table, so to speak.
And we'll have more on that lighthearted conversation. Just one more, if people want to go check out the podcast, how do they go do that?
Yeah, so you can find it on any of the podcasting platforms. So Apple, Spotify, Google. You just search Shaun Newman Podcast off your phone, and it's right there. Boom. It's super, super easy.
Okay. And we'll have more from him here in the Primetime Local News Studio.